All right, here we go with day 26. Today I was kind of thinking of doing something about how to get started, whether it be with a meditation practice or maybe creating content, starting a business, or trying to do whatever I'm doing, which is trying to create content and classes to help people with the things I've learned over the years. I'm not quite sure which direction I want to go yet, but it will be meditation, visualization, probably some spiritual stuff, some health stuff, and maybe just like yoga, even, or just some little things I've learned over the years. So, when I was thinking of starting with meditation, some of the things I wish I knew was like that, you can't turn the mind off. Everybody always thinks that, like there's a switch, you're going to switch and all of a sudden you're not going to have thoughts anymore. And like, even like, I would think that during the process, like you're supposed to go blank and not think and be lost and all that stuff, which sometimes that will happen, no doubt about it. But you can't focus on shutting your mind off. You got to focus on the process of breathing. And the more you do that, the more that you will actually start to drift away from the thoughts in your mind. Like you're always going to have thoughts. I mean, they're just there. You're not going to shut the mind off. But if you focus on your breathing, see in and out, and when you're focusing on it, you'll focus on it, and then all of a sudden, you'll start to have thoughts again. You'll start to have your normal everyday thoughts of the to-do list, maybe some limiting beliefs, just anything, any normal everyday thoughts that we have. And then after you realize that, oh my God, I'm having thoughts again, you got to focus back to your breathing, the in and the out, or maybe even just pay attention to it. Be mindful of your thoughts. There's mindful meditation too, where you just kind of pay attention and let the thoughts that you're having just drift away. Just let them come, but keep breathing. Because I feel like the breathing process, the deep breathing, eventually slows down your mind and your thoughts. And then that's when you'll start to drift away into like I was taught as it's always they called it the gap, like in between your mind and reality, like kind of like the infinite field of possibilities. Like everything in this world comes from that field of existence that's beyond space and time. And when you can drift past your mind, intellect, and the ego, like I was talking the other day, where you drift beyond, like, here's the mind, or here's the outside world, here's the mind, here's the inner world. And the more that you breathe and you keep repeating a mantra or pay attention to your thoughts, eventually you'll slip past that into deeper levels of your mind and into the unconscious mind, into that field of infinite possibilities. Then you can draw some energy from that field, and it will help you throughout your day. It'll help calm you down. But again, it's some days I'll do a half hour meditation and it feels like it was 10 minutes. Other days I'll do a half hour, 20 minutes, half hour meditation and it feels like it's 2 hours. Well, maybe not 2 hours, but at least longer than a half hour. And sometimes, in don't get discouraged either way, because there is no such thing as good or bad meditation. It's just meditation. Every meditation is exactly what you need to have in that moment. Like you'll either experience a lot of thoughts, you'll either experience maybe some gap, maybe you might even fall asleep if you are tired, because sometimes meditation helps you sleep. I mean, I was at a retreat a long time ago, and there was a lady that raised her hand and said that after she started meditating that week, she had gotten the first full night's rest she's had in over 20 years. She said that it was the first time she didn't wake up at least once during the night. And she was like in tears. She was so happy. I don't know what happened after that, but at least she got that one night. I'm sure she got many more. So, but again, it's not to be focused on the experience you're having, just focus on the process. Like everybody's going to have different experiences because it's theirs. Meditation is your experience. It's Dr. Joe Dispenza always says to become familiar with yourself. And Dr. Simon from the Chopra Center always said it's a journey of self-discovery. You're you. You ain't gonna be anybody else. So you might as well discover what it is you have inside you, and what it is you need to work on, what it is you want to do. Figure it out. And yeah, like I said before, there's some guides, there's some people that might be able to help you do it. I'm trying to guide you during the process or help you do it, but I can't tell you what your process is going to be or what it's going to be like. I can give you some similarities of mine, what mine's been like, and what other people have said that I've read. But at the end of the day, you're going to have your own. Like when I was in shamanism, like I barely seen anything. Like we were doing like going into the like underworld and stuff and deep down. And when we were asked to share after, I was like, I was just getting messages. Maybe I had a glimpse here, a glimpse there, but some of the other people in my class were seeing everything. They were like, I saw Buddha sitting there on the mountain. I I saw all these colors and chakras and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I didn't see any of that, but that's cool for them. So that's why it's not getting into the ego where you're like, my experience is better than yours, or mine was cooler because I saw Buddha. You don't need to get into all that stuff because it's not about comparing my journey to yours or my experience to yours. It's about sharing what your experience is. Now, again, it's good to share, and that's awesome. But I'm saying don't compare yourself to other people. Don't make it a competition on who's had a better experience because it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to just be your experience. So that's part of the thing is that don't get discouraged if one day you feel great and it's easy, and the other day it's very hard because I've been doing it every day since 2007, and there's still days that I have a hard time every once in a while getting myself to calm down. And like today, I probably waited a few hours before I even did my meditation. So I just didn't feel like doing it when I first got up, but I've always it's better to do it when you first get up. I was always taught RPM, rise, P, meditate. So I try to always do it as the first thing I do when I wake up. I try to, do that because you can't really focus on meditation if you got to go to the bathroom. So you kind of got to get that stuff out of the way first. And I mean, I was told not to eat before, like do it on an empty stomach or do it with like fruit or something if you really, really have to eat. Now, again, because they you don't want to take the focus away with the food being digested, but I've also heard different things and had different experiences. Sometimes when I'm full, if I try to meditate, it's harder. It's been easier for me on an empty stomach, so most of the time I do it. But if I am too hungry, then I'll get something light before I start. So, but it's easier just to get it out of the way first because then you'd be surprised that I don't know how many times like, oh, I'm just gonna check this first and then I'll do my meditation. And next thing you know, like today, it's 2 hours, 3 hours later, and I just got done with my meditation before I'm making this video. And it's easier just to get it done right out of the way. Like not even look at anything before you do it. Just get up and do it. Because once you get on your phone, once you get on the internet, once you turn the TV on, then all these things start distracting you. Then all of a sudden you see something you like, and then a half hour goes by, and you get on there, you start having a conversation with someone. Next thing you know, 3 hours goes by. So it's always good just to get it out of the way first thing in the morning. So, and uh, trying to think if there was anything else that I was thinking. Um, yeah, and then with like, hmm, you just got to start somewhere. It'll get better and easier as you go on, and the more you do it, the easier it'll get. I mean, again, like I said, there's still days where I get a little not as good as I want it to be. I still get a little frustrated. I still get a little have a hard time settling down and getting into that flow. But it's after you get that 8 to 10 minutes, like I said, it kind of you kind of shift and then you just go. But the mind isn't going to shut off. You're going to drift from thoughts to mantra. If you use a mantra, mindfulness, paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to your breath, I mean, there's different kinds of meditations, the visualizations. The visualizations for me have like seeing yourself as the person you want to be. Maybe those are some advanced ones. I'll probably make some recordings here and create some eventually here. But just start with whatever is comfortable. I started with music. I started with tones. I started with chakra meditations. Because I wasn't good at calming the mind. I couldn't sit there in complete quiet. It just wasn't very. It wasn't very easy for me to do. That would make it even harder because your mind's going crazy. Your body doesn't want to settle down. The ego's doing everything it can to get you to get up. So if that's the problem, if you're having that experience like I have, if you're trying to do it, then start with music. Put some headphones on and just listen to, gamma waves, alpha waves, anything you can find on the internet. There's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. But that's kind of where I started. I started with learningmeditation.com, and that was when they first started out, and they had way more free meditations than they do now. So I was lucky that I got to listen to theirs. I'd always put it on when I was studying at Central, and just put the headphones on and listen to that stuff, and it would get me in a zone to study. Like even when I finished my degree at Oakland, I was doing the same thing. I was putting gamma waves, ADHD, and I'd put that on with headphones, and within 15, 20 minutes, it would put me in that zone. So it definitely changes your like field, your energy, your brain waves. So but again, don't get discouraged. Keep working at it. Realize that each meditation is going to be its own animal. So don't, if you one day you're feeling great, the next day you're feeling stressed out, even when you're meditating, that is not the time to stop. Because sometimes when you are releasing stress, the mind is overactive like that. You'll have a lot of thoughts. You won't be in that gap very much. So just be gentle with the process. Don't give up. Keep at it, because trust me, the more you do it, the more results you're going to see. It's not meditation. I mean, sure, like I said before, you might get some benefits from it from doing it one time in that moment. But if you really, really, really want to get the good benefits of meditation, which are greater focus, lower stress hormone release, it lowers your blood pressure, it lowers your heart rate. I mean, when I first started meditating, when I wasn't addicted to caffeine, my massage therapist was like, "Are you a distance runner?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "The only running I do is around the bases." I was like, "I ain't running distances." And she's like, "That's weird." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "You got the heart rate of a distance runner." And I was like, "Oh, I meditate every day." And she was like, "Oh, that'll do it." And my blood pressure was fine. Now, again, it's probably a little higher now that I drink a bunch of caffeine, but it still it helps me centered. It might keep it from going even higher. So there's a lot of benefits to it, and it'll help you focus more. It definitely helps you focus more. So just test it out for yourself and see how it is, and just remember to keep doing it and see what happens, because you never know, and you got to start somewhere. All right, bye.